everybody. We're really excited to be here and present Jim Stevenson's Celestial Suite. It's a 5-movement work, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the group, and then the piece, and then the movement that you just listened to. So, we are the EIU Faculty Brass Quintet. My name is Jennifer Brown. I am the trumpet professor here. And on trombone, we have our trombone professor, Will Porter. On tuba, we have our tuba euphonium professor, Evan Kelsick. On horn, our horn professor, Jessica Pierce. And then our visiting guest artist on second trumpet, Kevin Lewis. And so this piece that you're listening to was commissioned in 2011 by the members of the Axiom Brass Quintet and in collaboration with the Fishoff National Chamber Music Association. And the idea behind it was to reflect and comment on the combination between astronomy and sacred music. And when they first approached Jim Stevenson about this project, he said, "And how do I do that?" Okay. And so after talking with a few people and struggling a little bit, he came up with the idea of creating 5 movements, and each movement would feature one member of the ensemble, and in addition will be named for a famous astronomer or physicist. So the first movement is named after Copernicus, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. But in addition to separating each movement by different astronomers and physicists, there's an underlying music theory geek moment for all of our musicians in the room. So what's actually really cool is in each movement, he's structured it with a different tonal center. So the first movement is in the key of E major, and so then, which is of course the dominant to A major, which is the key of the next movement, which is the dominant of D major, which is the key of the third movement, which happens to be the relative major to the fourth movement, which is housed in B minor, and then the final movement is in B major, which is of course the parallel major to the minor of B minor, and I'm gonna get this, and then of course B major is the dominant to E major, thus creating a wonderful circle that goes on forever. So again, sort of the tonal centers of this piece are orbiting as well. So E is of course represented by E major, A. R stands for Ray. So we're going to spell out Earth actually with the different key centers. T is going to represent the key of B minor, and then H we're going to use the German spelling, the German notation to represent E major. So everything's kind of very much mathematically intertwined in this piece. Okay? We are going to talk a little bit about Copernicus, and I did have to look up Copernicus's dates because I did not remember them. But he was a Renaissance mathematician and astronomer who is credited as the first in modern history to develop the heliocentric model of the universe. So he's the guy that first proposed that the sun was the center of the universe rather than the Earth. And he published on the revolutions of the celestial spheres right before his death in 1543. Now, that movement that you just heard featured the first trumpet, while the other members of the quintet were entirely bound by those notes that we talked about earlier, the E, the A, the D, the B, and the B, well, the T and the H both spell B, so that's what we get. And so they were representative of the Catholic Church's stance at the time that the Earth was the center of the universe. The trumpet, on the other hand, was based in the key of G, which if we use the solfege spelling is sol, which is Latin for sun. So it all works together. And then Copernicus's revolutionary vision was represented by the rhythmic sort of instability at the beginning, while the Church's stance was ever present and ever pounding in their repetitive notes at the beginning. So we're going to pass it off to Jessica Pierce, who's going to introduce our second movement.